Overwatch is a complicated game, and there is a lot to learn about it, especially if you do not come from an FPS or even a general video game background. For how complicated it is, there really is only one in game tool that tries to teach you how to play the game: the tutorial. And it's got some age on its bones, that's for sure. Today, I'm going to run you through the tutorial and then pitch some suggestions about how it can change to give players a better understanding about how OW is played in 2024 rather than 2016. Some of the stuff they miss may even surprise you a little bit. I hope you enjoy. So, I guess to start out, I think what are like the key aspects of Overwatch that somebody would want to know before they play this game, or are very crucial to understanding how to play the game of Overwatch as we understand it now. So, like, obviously, like, being able to move and use your abilities and use your ults, basically, like, what are they? How do you use them? What buttons do you hit? That's going to be in there. I'm pretty sure that's already in the tutorial, but you need to know that. How do you capture objectives? All types of objectives. You know, like, what does a payload do? What does a point do in different game modes, you know? I'm pretty sure that's kind of covered in the tutorial. And then some of the other stuff that I think is a little more meta-y that I know is not really covered. Comps, you know, like what different comps are, what different characters are in what kind of comps, or, you know, basically more maybe broad, more like, oh, some comps are very fast and want to play together. Some are doing their own thing. Some characters play better like this, you know, basically even just like a very like basic understanding of it. I think that would go a long way. Character swapping, but basically more about like counter swapping, so like how to do it, but like when is a good time to swap, you know, like you know, why would you swap? Maybe you don't swap, maybe you feel comfortable on one character, don't feel like you have to swap. That would be really good, I think, in the tutorial. Space. What is space? That's a very macro concept. If it were able to just be touched on about, like, you know, just if you're here and the enemy is here, you know, like this is where you can play, this is where they can play. I feel like that would go a long way. Sight lines. Why are they important, and what do you mean by sight line? I feel like that could be that's a shooter concept. You know, I feel like that would be really good for Overwatch. And also just positioning, you know, like what is a good position, what is a bad position. Not just let's be on point. Let's talk about, you know, where around the point. Maybe we don't even play near the point. Where should I be in relation to my team? These are very broad. Oh, and also, sorry, one more thing. Map specific stuff. So like what a health pack is, how do you use it, what a jump pad is, you know, like the cars on Oasis. Just some of the stuff you might want to look out for. Pits, you know, ledges, all of that. So basically, you know, like some of these are pretty like in-depth, macro, big idea stuff that I think it's going to be hard to actually teach in Overwatch, but I think it's doable. And I think just touching on them and getting people's brains in the right place, probably a good thing just to get started, even if it isn't the most in-depth idea. So let's do it. Let's go into the tutorial. So the only time this screen is used in the game, by the way, this part of the map, again, this is not used anywhere else. This is for the tutorial only. I know you play as Soldier, and like Tracer and Athena help you out. And look, like these are like unique animations that they made for the tutorial. A lot of effort was put into this when they first made this game. Right, like these are unique. It's really cool. Like, I can't lie. Okay. So, move the mouse to look around. Obviously, it's going to tell us how to do things. So, I'm looking at Tracer. And it's also, like, the tutorial you can use to calibrate. So, it's like, oh, that feels, like, really, you know, really bad. You know what I mean? You can use the tutorial to be like, oh, I'm going to tame my sensitivity down. Or I'm going to change my buttons. So yeah. You can also move left and right. Follow Tracer as she moves around the hangar. Alright, so I'm gonna follow Tracer. Practice moving. So like this is, you know, baby's first video game, right? But again, it's like a button check.
right and go through the blast door.
Okay, so now I know how to jump.
Welcome to the target range. Please proceed to the highlighted area. Let me walk
Okay.
you through the basics of combat.
Basics of combat.
It is displayed in the lower left corner of your screen. That's you, Soldier 76.
Okay, so it pulls your attention to the health bar. I didn't even think about that, like what the UI elements are. So that's good. I doubt it's going to talk about any of the unique UI elements. So there may need to be like some kind of glossary or something. But oh, I did not kill him. Oops. Oh, that's why.
Nicely done. You can also strike a target near you with a melee attack.
Oh, it teaches you about melee.
Aim, then strike it with a melee attack. Enemies in the field may be a little harder to hit than that one.
Okay.
Let me get you something a little more challenging to shoot. When I shoot enemies like these training bots are marked with a red outline.
They talk about the red outline that it's your enemy. Okay.
Displayed above their head.
And they talk about
That covers the
checking their damage. So again, very basic beginner stuff. Let me see else here. Alright, so they talk about your abilities. They actually just unlock them now.
In addition
So
you also have the ability to heal yourself with
yeah.
field.
So it's pulling attention to a lot of UI elements. So I take some damage and I heal. Okay. Oh my god, 18-second cooldown. Is that what it is on live? I don't think so. Have they never changed the... Wait, does the tutorial exist outside of... What's it called? Of the main game? Like, the abilities are different here?
You can launch a volley of rockets in the direction you're aiming. When the rockets explode,
They are using the new designs, which I wasn't expecting. But, I'm pretty sure it's not 18 seconds on live.
let me explain Tactical Visor, your ultimate ability.
Okay, so it explains what the ult is.
And change the course of the game. But you must fully charge it before using it. Your current charge level is displayed here at the bottom of your screen.
Okay.
Charge your tactical visor by damaging the train.
So it also, I didn't even think about this. It tells you how to build ult. So that's okay.
Your ultimate
So I'm learning how to play. I just got my PlayStation. It's Christmas. I can't wait to get in the game, but I need to know how to play the game first.
Visor is charged. The tactical visor optimizes your shots so they do not miss. Now activate your tactical visor and destroy the train.
Not even using the tag visor.
Nice work, Soldier 76.
Okay.
For the final phase of the training program, I'll show you how to capture an objective.
Okay, so the final thing is that it's capturing an objective. So it shows you what denotes an objective and how to get there.
Move while you are within the area. You
Okay.
make progress towards capturing the objective.
So it tells you how to
Your
take a
character is
control
displayed
point.
here on your screen. If there are enemies in the area,
And it talks to you about like how the UI functions. It also talks to you about how if enemies in the area, that stops it.
the objective.
Okay, interesting. Oh! That is the tutorial. And that's it. Okay, this is gone. Okay, so this is what I wanted to see in the tutorial. So, movement. So what's actually there? So movement, that's here, right? Obviously, it tells you how to move, how to use your abilities, how to ult. So that's all there, right? Objective, all types. It only had one type, and Overwatch had multiple. It still had the payload when the game launched, right? So even at launch, this was wrong, or at least it was a little incomplete. It still got the idea, but there was probably some things you would have missed about payload. Comp/character types. Obviously, that's not here. What's honestly surprising it's not here is swapping. It doesn't tell you anything about swapping. It doesn't even tell you how to do it. In fact, the tutorial doesn't even tell you how to change your character or pick one in the first place. It just puts you on soldier. So a new player may not know how to navigate the menu properly. It is very intuitive, but I'm talking like new player. Obviously no space. Oh, that's the wrong thing. No space, no sightlines, no positioning, no, not even health packs or jump pads or anything like that. Um, what is in the tutorial? So that's going to be movement, abilities, ult, um, capture point objective, UI, reading UI, and outside of that, I'm not remembering anything else. I guess I'll say ult and how to get it. Okay. Capture point progress, reading UI, movement, reading UI, let's say personal and enemy. And it also will say identify allies and enemies. So that's what's in the tutorial. It's very basic, bare bones, whatever. A lot of this isn't here. So how can we change the tutorial? How can we fix it? You know, just like make it a little more conducive to Overwatch as we play it nowadays, right? Because again, this tutorial was made for launch 2016. So that's something to consider, right? Like this has not been touched since then. And back then, I don't think any of these other things were really necessary because nobody knew how the game played. And I don't think the devs knew how the game played because, again, you know, this used to be Titan and they stitched it together and they made this game Overwatch and, you know, it became a big phenomena. So with that, you know, with that in mind, it makes sense that these are the things that they thought were viable because really just stepping into an Overwatch lobby back then was just completely free-for-all chaos. Nobody knew where to go. Nobody knew what they were doing, where to play, what to do, anything like that. So now with the game, what more can we do? So I think, you know, what can we change? What can we improve on? What can we add? Definitely, first off, go over all objective types, right? So how does a payload work? When do you get more people on the payload? How does that differ from a push bot? You know, what is the difference between a clash point and a flash point and a regular capture point? I'm trying to think what else. Push. So the hybrid maps push, flashpoint, clash. So yeah, basically we need to talk about all the objective types because people are going to be confused about, like, you know, on a control, like why a control point would flip flop and then a capture point, like a, you know, like a hybrid point would just end, right? I think some people would be kind of confused about that idea. Comps. So I think this is harder, but I actually, in the general tutorial, let's keep it general. So we'll stay out of the comps as character types. Swapping. We're gonna say how to swap and how to pick characters. They could have a pool of certain heroes to pick. Oh my god, dude! I didn't even think about it. Roles. What are the roles? What should they be doing? How did they miss this? You know, they don't even talk about like what a tank is, what a support is, what a DPS is, what is your job on those roles. Anything about that, that's completely gone. I cannot believe that's not here at all. Wow, that's kind of crazy. So swapping, how to swap, when to swap, when should and shouldn't. Oh, shouldn't you swap, right? Roles, obviously. Space. How do you teach space, right? Space and teaching the very basics. I think my idea is have soldier run into a group of people, make you leave, right? Then explain why you can't play there. Then have him shoot another, like shoot a bot, and then take the space when you kill them, right? Very basic, right? That would then kind of explain, like, when are you allowed to go places and when are you aren't on a very, very basic level, right? And then maybe even Tracer comes in, and instead of you going there, she goes there. And now you're saying, like, I've made that for you. I didn't even have to go there to do it. Very basic space, okay? Sightlines. Have a sniper bot shoot or lock on to you while rotating. Point out that there is cover and travel between them or completely out of sightlines. Sight. Right? So then you say, like, this is where the danger is. Play cover more often, right? Then you can go into your positioning. So I think the easiest thing here is just like have like Ryan hold shield, soldier can't shoot through it. Right? Then have player move to the side and shoot him. And then either like they just shoot him or he turns and then an ally shoots them or something. And now, right, you've taught them angles with positioning. We'll do a similar thing for high grounds. And we'll just say similar thing for high grounds, basically. So we're gonna have two ideas of like how to position really rapid fire very quick. Again, I wanna make that clear. In this tutorial, this hypothetical tutorial, everything is quick and snappy. It's gonna be very much like we're gonna spend as much time on these concepts as we did with moving your character. Just very, very, very basic. Health packs and everything, that's easy. Map specific stuff. So just in the practice range, have a jump pad, health pack, support. Okay, actually, I'm gonna put an extra asterisk here. Also, have supports and tanks helping sometimes to talk about how damage is mitigated in multiple ways other than just by yourself. Okay. All right, so you have a health pad, jump pack, I don't know, cars, etc. Hits, etc. Just so everyone knows, right? Everyone's on the same page. And they don't go into a map and they have no idea how to interact with things. So that's most of it. I also would want character specific tutorials. Very quick, immune to balance changes. So very basic, right? Like very basic. Like here's what your character does. Here's how they shoot. Here's their ult. That's it. they're optional, but it's like, I want to learn this character. Here's how you do it, right? And then let's say general. I'll move this down a little bit. General game plan. How to use abilities and some strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so now you get the idea. And this is for people who seek this out, right? This is completely separate, right? Um but that way like when you play a character, you know what they're doing. And then there's also resources in the game that what's it called? That tell you like how to play characters so that if you don't even want to play that character, you know how to play against them and what they're doing. You know, there aren't that many characters in the game where I think it's like not too unreasonable to run through all of these. It's not like League of Legends where you'd have to run through like 200 and characters are much more complicated in that game. But you know, it might be a little much, but you don't have to go through all of them. You'll figure it out eventually, but that's just, you know, another resource you can do to feel more comfortable when you start playing this game. Um oh my god, I just had another one that I'm blanking on real quick. Um yeah, I think that is most of it. If I'm not mistaken here. Let me see here. Very quick, immune to balance changes, general game plan, how to use abilities, some strengths and weaknesses. Oh, maybe I guess I could add what comps are good with them generally. Obviously that changes, but just like getting people on the right track about what they should be doing with their characters will get them ready more often. Um Also in positioning, I say like don't always have to play the objective. And maybe that manifests in like maybe that happens after positioning where it's like, oh, you know now that the high ground is good. What if we just play on the high ground instead of playing on the point so that they don't take it? Boom, easy, right? Pretty simple, pretty simple. So basically, I guess in conclusion here, what does the tutorial do right? Well, if you were in 2016 and you had never picked up a shooter before, this got you up to speed with everybody else. If you had played a shooter before, didn't do much for you, but sure, whatever, you know now how to charge an ultimate and how to capture a point. Anytime after that, the tutorial has been very, very useless for anyone because nowadays people understand how to play the game, where to go, what to do, and new players are not going to get that. Think like how you roll out on Numbani defense, right? A lot of times, everyone just knows where to go, right? They go up to that little high ground area where the door is to stuff it. What is a new player going to do? They have no idea. They're going to follow the little arrow on the ground and they're going to go stand on point and then they're going to die instantly or they're not going to provide anything to you guys. So like trying to teach that stuff is harder, but just getting it in your head that you don't have to play on point or do anything like that is the right step, or is a good step in the right direction. The one thing I was surprised that the tutorial did well was the UI elements. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. A glossary. Glossary of terms and UI elements. So that one's not in your face, but you know, it's basically like the same idea, just like what does hindered mean, right? What does hacked mean? Stuff like that. Because no one's gonna know. They're gonna get hit by these abilities and be like, what is stunned? What does that mean? You know? So yeah, basically like the tutorial did more than I thought it did, but it really doesn't do anything. And it is definitely, you can tell it's been pushed to the wayside. And it is just kind of the ugly duckling of Overwatch. I love that there were unique animations for it. I actually can't believe that. Although, you know, it was supposed to be a bigger thing back then. Like a lot of people were seeing the tutorial back then. Nowadays, almost no one sees the tutorial. So, you know, basically Blizzard, here's a couple ideas for you. Maybe you don't have to revamp the tutorial, but just some other stuff. I think the glossary would be a great idea. I think character specific stuff would be a great idea. Hero Mastery is kind of like that, but it doesn't tell you like how to play characters. I think new people to Overwatch are left in the dust, and it's up to them being kind of extrinsically motivated to go seek how to play Overwatch rather than the game telling you how to do it. Obviously, you're going to have to figure out some of the stuff on your own. The game can't teach you everything of how metas evolve and all of that, but there definitely needs to be some more resources and tools in this game that help newer players. Maybe even on an account that like even in the first 5 games of an account that you play, the UI will give you tips on where to go or things to do. Probably not, probably a little much, but I'm just spitballing ideas here. I do think that tutorials are necessary, and I would love to see them give some love to this that is not really thought about anymore and has been widely discarded. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to get in on these discussions live, that's going to be twitch.tv/Lane Hemingway. I do a discussion every time I go live, a couple times a week. Big one on Saturday. If you want to come in and share the love, I really do appreciate it. If not, you just want to watch the videos, that's perfectly fine too. All that good YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. It really does help me out. I do read all your comments, and I do love to hear your feedback. And I really hope that you keep supporting the channel, and I do really appreciate it. So thank you, and have a good day.